I chose to do my project on the Oregon spotted frog, which is an aquatic amphibian in the Pacific Northwest region of the United States. It's listed as threatened by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which was a reason that I chose to study it. Um, I found some interesting information about the final critical habitats through the U.S. Fisheries and Wildlife Service, and I decided that I would take this data and try and determine what are some primary areas that would be good for conservation in order to preserve the population of this species. The three main questions that I decided to look at were which habitats of the Oregon spotted frog need to be conserved based on the following criteria, and those four criteria I looked at were one, that the species habitat was inside the state of Oregon, two, that it was outside of a developed land parcel, three, that it was within 15 meters of a permanent water source, and four, that there was no dam within 1 mile of the habitat. The second question that I looked at was which of these habitats are at least a mile from a recorded bullfrog sighting. Bullfrog are major threats to the Oregon spotted frog population, and they're an invasive species in the area, so there's only sightings, not definite habitat. And the third question I looked at was what is the area of the largest habitat that meets these conservation requirements? And for my map, I did some initial research through the U.S. Fisheries and Wildlife Service, and they have a really good database where I got my base map of the critical habitats for Oregon spotted frogs, which I then narrowed down based on my four criteria. Um, I got data about dams in Oregon and water sources in Oregon from the Oregon Spatial Data Library, which has a lot of really good resources. And this is actually the dams file that I used. Um, Here's the layout of my map, description, little details. Here's the list of layers, all this. So here's the map. You can see these red areas were the habitats that I found that met all my criteria. We've got rivers and streams, lakes, and then these orange dots are major dams from that shapefile earlier. So the initial area took up much more of the space that you're looking at, and I started by buffering my streams and lakes and then clipping my habitats to those and then finding the area around dams. You can see here that most of this area is within national forests, which makes sense because I clipped out areas that were within urbanized segments of land, which I got that data through a zoning file also provided by the Oregon Spatial Database that listed every parcel of land under a certain category going from urbanized to industrial to farms to forests. And you can see here a circular clip around a dam. And so that's the data map that I made.